Hi fellas, I'm Jackson, and today we're going to be going over fun effects that certain nuts can have on the human body, especially my body, if you know what I'm saying. And just before we get started, I want to say I'm getting really close to 100 subscribers, and if you're watching this, I'd really appreciate if you subscribe. I'm at 95 right now, just 5 more, and I'm going to be at 100. That's a huge milestone for me. I'd really appreciate it. And anyway, let's just get straight into this. So I have 3 experiences with nuts kind of poisoning me, and it's gonna be a fun time. And I'm gonna go through them from least torturous to most. The last one is maybe the most pain I've ever been in. And I also have a fourth little bonus one that's not technically a nut, but is still a fun little piece of information. So I thought I'd include it anyway. So first up, we have cashews. Cashews are delicious. I mean, they're one of my favorite foods. They're so good. Are they even nuts? I'm not sure. They're close enough if they're not. So it turns out that cashews have a fun little effect when you eat a lot of them. Now, we're going to be seeing a common theme in this video, which is that things eaten in massive quantities have unforeseen consequences. Who would have guessed? Um, how do I even put this? Um, so it wasn't exactly diarrhea. It was more like oil. I I shit out pure orange oil. I'm not joking. Um, it wasn't just like bleak, like body orange, like something you would expect organic. It was like neon orange, like really bright orange oil, which I could tell was oil because it was floating on top of the toilet water. Um, it felt so weird. I mean, we're used to either a liquid or a solid coming out of our asses, not oil, because oil is like yes, it's a liquid, but it's got such a unique viscosity to it, and it's so different than like water. It's so slimy and disgusting. There are photos of it online. I doubt I can include it here, but look up cashew orange oil poop. Like it's not fun. It didn't actually hurt that much, which is why it was on the bottom here, but it was weird and it was slightly painful, but it's just really weird to poop out orange oil like that. Oh my god. That's really the end of that one. And next up we have almonds. So, if you didn't know, there are these things called bitter almonds. Because you know how people say cyanide smells like almonds? It's actually the other way around. Almonds smell like cyanide because they have cyanide in them. I assume you can probably see where this is going, but I didn't die, which is why I'm making this video. So let me explain. Bitter almonds are the wild almonds that are cultivated out in the wild on the plants directly, which contain so much cyanide that only a few nuts can kill a person. Um, the regular almonds that you buy in your grocery store, which are the sweet almonds, still have a little bit of cyanide in them. The most famous example of this is apple seeds, which are I think the most packed seeds in any fruit full of cyanide. 'Cause a lot of fruits have cyanide in them, or certain poisons in general. But almonds have a fair amount. So here's a fun story. One day, because I love almonds, I ate an entire 1 pound bag in one sitting. The next day, I woke up with a headache. Now, I don't drink, so it wasn't a hangover, and I was like, that's weird. I hope I'm not sick. And I go to work, and it's getting worse. The headache is pounding, and I start to feel nauseous. I'm like, that's weird. And I look at the clock. It's like, well, still 5 more hours. I don't want to go home early. Um, and then I'm starting to hyperventilate, and it's getting really hard to breathe, and I feel super fatigued. And I'm like, that's weird. But I kept working because I didn't want to go home early. And eventually, my foreman comes around, and he notices me in extreme pain, and I'm doing everything really slowly because I'm like, it was like I was living in slow motion because I was so fatigued and like I had no energy, and I was doing something that involved crouching up and down a lot to like do something up and down. Um, and I had to go so slowly for like I just couldn't move basically. And he comes over to me, he's like, Jackson, are you okay? And I was like, maybe not. I don't really know. And because the place I work at is really cool, they just kind of demanded I go home early because they could very clearly see that I wasn't okay, and I was telling them that like, yeah, full disclosure, I feel very nauseous, I have a headache, I feel extremely fatigued, and so I did have to go home early, about 3 hours or so early, and I find out later because I it wasn't sick, I wasn't coughing, it was definitely not like a cold or something or a fever. I went back and was starting to research it. And looking around my apartment, I was like, did I eat anything? Did I eat anything bad? So I started looking through my garbage to like remember what I was eating, and I find the 1 pound bag of almonds that's empty. And I was like, no. Is it the almonds? Because everything else I ate in moderation last night. Because I didn't have too much of anything. I was thinking maybe food poisoning, something in too much quantities. And so I started looking up almonds because that's something I ate a shit ton of. It turns out that almonds have a little bit of cyanide in them. And you know what the lethal dose of almonds is for your average person? You know how much almonds it'll take? 4 pounds. So I ate a quarter of a lethal dose of almonds. If I ate 3 more pounds of almonds, I would be dead, which is kind of funny to think about. That was not a fun day. That hurt a lot. I can still feel my head pounding when I think about it. It's like that was maybe the worst headache I've ever had. I'm very lucky to never have had a migraine. But yeah, moral of the story, don't eat a lot of almonds in one sitting. Next up, we have the final personal story. This is the one that I was saying was maybe the most physical pain I've ever been in my life. So, a little while back, I was staying with a friend for a while because of personal stuff. And I was doing my own grocery shopping for the first time in my life, and my mom had always told me don't eat too many peanuts because they'll stop you up, especially peanuts. Like nuts in general can do that, but especially peanuts because like they're not good for your digestive tract when you eat them in massive quantities. But at this point, I was finally living, away from my parents for the first time in my life, and I was like, I don't need to listen to that stupid hokey advice anymore. I'm gonna eat as many peanuts as I want. So I ate as many peanuts as I wanted. Now, I believe I got it from Aldi. It was one of those big like cubic containers that was like at least probably 2 pounds of peanuts, I think. I ate the entire thing in a couple hours. And because I love peanuts, they're really, really good. I love them. And that was the beginning of the end for me. If you know anything about peanuts or have just listened to what I just said a couple tens of seconds ago, they make your digestive tract go upsy daisy. They're not good. I you ever seen Kinetic Sand? That toy where it's like the special sand to make stuff out of, and I only bring up Kinetic Sand as opposed to regular sand because it's colorful. I was shitting out like orange sand, like orangish brown sand. It was not like it was a solid, but it was like powder. It was like actually sand coming out of my ass. It hurt so much. It hurt so unbelievably much. I had to that night. I like over the whole course of this little, you know, internal war I was having with all the peanuts. I probably had to like sit down on the toilet like at least 30 separate times because I would, be shitting my guts out, pouring this sand into the toilet, and then I would get up in excruciating pain and kind of have to waddle around because walking normally would, it just makes your ass move, which my asshole after this was literally just raw. It was so sensitive to touch. Um, and so I had to kind of waddle around, and then like maybe a couple minutes later, I would just have to go straight back because I could feel that I was gonna shit my pants any second. And yeah, it was a really fun time. Um, I haven't had a bath before this in like probably at least 10 years, if not longer, probably like 15 years. Um, yeah, I had a bath for the first time in it like at least a decade because uh wait, no, actually I'm skipping ahead too far. Hold on. That night we were also making steaks. My friend and I were cooking steaks out on the grill and on the porch. He made this steak that looked so good, so appetizing, but I could not eat it because I was in so much unbelievable pain. It like in my entire nether region and like my stomach, my ass, my intestines, everything. It was so bad. Um and I felt terrible because he put a lot of effort in the steak. He made it really fancy. And I was just like, man, I'm sorry, but I can't do it. It hurts so much to even look at food. And the worst part was that I was actually pretty hungry again, but I knew that like it's like refraining from eating sugar. You want to, but you know it's just gonna hurt and make life worse, even if you really want to eat it. And I had to refrain. I took a actually no, I took a couple bites and I was like, nope, this hurts so much, I can't continue. And we just put it in the fridge. But yeah, that night I got legitimately zero sleep. I slept a total of 0 hours and 0 minutes because um my asshole was burning so red hot. Like it felt like someone was putting a fire poker that was just in a fire up my ass and was like keeping it there, maybe twisting it around a little. My asshole was in so much pain that I could not sleep. The pain from my burning anus kept me awake an entire night. I could not sleep because the pain was so unbearable. Um, and obviously I would have to get up every like 5 minutes to go use the bathroom and shit out a little more sand and then lay back down and then shit out a little more sand and lay back down and like Sisyphus. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then the next morning I was like, this hurts so much. I need to do something to soothe the pain. So I made myself a bath. And it was kind of nice. Um, but it also hurt tremendously getting in because in order to get in the bath, I had to very carefully and slowly squat and then sit down in it. It hurts so much. Like I'm just talking. This whole video is just me talking about how much my anus hurt at this point. It hurt so much. I don't know if I've ever been in more physical pain. It was so bad. Um, yeah, it was a fun time. And here's a fun little thing that really helped a lot. I'm being sarcastic. Is my friend, this friend that I was staying with, had well, he still does. He has a strong tendency to nut tap me, and if you don't know what that is, look it up. He does it a lot, and I'm too nice to do it back because I don't like hurting people. So he just does it to me all the time, and I take it like a sissy. And that I could deal with. He nut taps me so much that my balls are just made of steel at this point. I'm like the Iron Crotch, the Shaolin monks who do the Iron Crotch training. No one can hurt my balls. That's a lie. But the bad part of it is that he would scare me with it because sometimes he just does it like as a fake out, like just getting real close and then pulling away. That scared me. It's like a jump scare at that point, which made me clench my asshole out of instinctive fear. The act of clenching my anus, the act of clenching my sphincter shut, hurt so much. It was like someone took a knife and just shoved it up there for a moment, and it like didn't just keep there, but just it was like this split second of indescribable pain. Oh my god! Imagine if someone stabs your asshole, just shoves a knife directly into it, and then pulls it out, and there's no pain after like a couple seconds, like it's very short lasting, but in that moment, it is indescribable. That was my experience. It was a lot of fun. So, Don't eat a lot of peanuts. Don't go to Aldi. Aldi, this is all your fault. I'm gonna sue you because you sold me those peanuts. Shouldn't you have known that I didn't have the self-control to not eat them all in one sitting? Who are you people? I'm gonna find the cashier that allowed me to buy them. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I am also thinking about making a video in the future about just the most painful things I've ever experienced, and that would probably be one of them. And yeah, that's the peanut story. Now the last one is not a nut. I don't know if cashews are nuts, but I know that this one is not. But it's close enough and it's just really cool, although I don't have a personal story with it. You probably know from Breaking Bad, it is castor seeds or castor beans, whatever you want to call them. They go by different names. Now, you might not know what the Breaking Bad reference there is. Ricin. Do you get me now? If you've seen the show now, you know what I'm talking about. Because I don't think they ever directly refer to them as castor beans. Maybe they do briefly, but it's the focus is on the ricin that comes from them. Like I've said before with the almonds, I think a lot of natural nuts and fruits have a little bit of poison in them, which I believe um, is to make animals kind of like eat a seed and then poop it out somewhere else because it messes with their insides and so it kind of grows somewhere else after they poop it out. Um, ricin Ricin doesn't much like being eaten. Ricin decides to kill anyone who dares eat it. Like Ricin takes that like defensive nature thing of like, we gotta spread out, we gotta multiply, so let's have animals eat us and then poop us out to plant us other places. Ricin Ricin doesn't want you to, plant it somewhere else. Ricin just wants to kill you. These castor beans, they want to kill you. They took this poison thing in nature to the highest level. This is one of the most potent toxins known to man. I'm not sure if this is totally accurate, but I've heard that a single castor seed has enough ricin in it to kill 1,000 people, which is ridiculous. I mean, that is crazy. I mean, it like ricin is no joke. And the thing is, it is so easy to make. Now, I can't probably talk about that too much, but ricin is an incredibly easy to access poison. Um, because you can grow castor seeds, you can buy castor seeds. For instance, you cannot buy cyanide, at least not to my knowledge. I do, well, at least potassium cyanide, like the kind that you use in suicide pills. I do not believe you can just go out and buy that. You can't. Most poisons have government restrictions on them for obvious reasons. Now, there's things like antifreeze and pesticides, but like things that are used for nothing but being used as poison usually have restrictions. Because ricin just grows in these seeds that are on a plant that anyone can buy, and you can't really restrict in any proper way. They're so easy to access, and extracting the ricin from the seeds is also ridiculously easy. And how easily you can kill people with it is even scarier because, like I said, it is effective. You need a really small amount of ricin to kill an adult. And once again, if you've seen Breaking Bad, I'm sure you already know all about this, but it's not a fun death either. Cyanide, for instance, kills you in a little over a minute, I believe. Ricin takes between 1.5 to 3 days usually, depending on the amount eaten and how it's brought into your body. It is not fun. It is awful. Like this plant, what are you thinking? Why are these seeds, like I'm talking to the plant here, you. Why are your seeds full of so much poison? Who made you do that? Why, God? Why does this plant even exist? Like, for what purpose do you need that potent of a poison in nature? I don't understand. Like, it just really does not like being eaten. Like, it doesn't want a single seed eaten. It's like the Grim Reaper plant with the death seeds. And you know what's also very interesting about castor seeds is there is a there's a certain acidity level in our stomach that can only dissolve certain things, and in case like this only like activate certain things with a chemical reaction. In this case, you can swallow a whole castor seed and be totally fine. It actually just passes right through you, and you have no consequences. If you chew it, then you're screwed because your stomach acid is actually not strong enough to dissolve the kind of shell it has. But if you chew it, then it gets released, which I find interesting. So you can swallow the seeds whole. I do not recommend doing it. Do not do that. But you probably can, at least a few of them. I wouldn't recommend doing like a whole handful of them or anything. But if you swallow one and don't chew it at all, you should be fine from what I've heard. Do not do that. But yeah, I think that's really interesting. And oh, also castor seeds look really really cool, which makes me kind of want to eat one because they look so cool and like weirdly appetizing. They like look at them. They look really cool. You gotta admit, come on. They look cool. They got those like patterns on them. And they just look cool. Come on. I know you think so. They can kill you, but they look cool. Come on. Anyway, that's gonna wrap up the video. I've been talking for longer than I even realized I was. And yeah, if you like to subscribe, I'd really, really appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers, and you have a great day.